And here we are. We are live inside Minding Your Soul. Hi, everybody. It worked this time.
Oh my gosh, like the last week, at the same time last week, we could make anything work. Jeanene, you are a wizard. You are absolutely amazing for finding this and getting this to all work this week. So thank you very much for having me here.
I will take that wizard title and embrace it, because honestly, last week I had every technical issue that there was to have, right? The whole time you're going to laugh. You're saying how wonderful StreamYard is, right? I had StreamYard the whole time. I set this up a month ago and then I completely forgot. It's like workshop week, nothing else but workshop week is on my brain. So it just worked out for the best that we did this today and not last week. Yeah, my brain
it's
was
always highest and best for all involved. And it wasn't supposed to happen last week. So this week I get to have a beautiful conversation with you again, Jeanene.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Okay, great. It worked out. Thank you. I'm so excited to do this with you because I know how powerful your program is. Before I even started with any of my nutrition stuff, it was all mindset. I had to get to a place where I made a decision that I was either going to have MS or I was going to be a mother. I couldn't do both. You know my story. And it was that mindset change that everything started falling into my path. Right? I was able to see things differently. So when you and I met, I was absolutely amazed that you have an entire program around this. So before we get into the program, I would love for you to tell everybody, what's your story? Like, how did you get into this?
It's the universe grabbing me by the ears and shaking me violently, as your story has so many and beautiful examples of this, to say, not this, Jeanene, this. And so there's just moments in my life. So for example, very quickly, in 2006 I was an all-American triathlete. I had lost 85 pounds to become an all-American triathlete. And I just, in my mind, that I remember the moment I said, I'm just going to start running. I think I'm going to do this. And then I just kept following joy, and I kept following the love of doing the sport. And then in 2008 I broke my spine. So yeah, kind of crazy. And I want to say that I had a great story that a bear came out of the woods and attacked me and I wrestled it off. No,
I was hoping.
Yes. Like, how
you
cool
would go
would that
along
be?
with the whole beard, actually, if you had that story.
Exactly. And you would believe that if I came off with like such definitive nature that this is what happened. No, sadly, it was shoveling snow. I shoveled snow and my spine straight went like this.
My God.
And it paralyzed my right leg from the waist down. So I was given a prognosis of, we can do surgery. And I avoided it for 4 months until finally I lost 90% of the muscle mass out of my right leg. And I was told if I don't do anything, they're going to amputate it. Then I went to my doctor and he goes, okay, we can do a microlaminectomy, which is very minimally invasive surgery, cleaning up the nerve bundles that had been damaged. And he goes, I give you a 50-50 shot. And he goes, I'm like, 50-50 shot, it'll work. He goes, 50-50 shot, I don't paralyze you from the waist down. And the way I looked at it, I was like, one leg or two, let's go for it. So I walked out of the surgery center and then started to rehab it. And then over the course of rehab, I knew it was going to take 3 years to rehab a paralyzed leg, because your nerves only grow 1 millimeter a day.
Oh, wow.
So then with a 32-inch inseam, I did the math and I'm like, it's going to take me 2.5 years to repair this leg to where it was.
Wow.
So 1 year before it was finished, I signed up for Ironman. And I completed Ironman 1 year later. Ironman, for anybody that doesn't know, is a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and then you run a marathon, all within 17 hours. And I did it in 13.
It was supposed to take 2.5 years to regrow all those nerves. And you were running a marathon. You were making your body do things that no normal body does without extensive training. And you did that in a year.
You said it, Jeanene. The mindset. Once I knew I could, then possibility happened. And it started to flip for me. Now, my journey wasn't over. Like, the universe wasn't done. where it looks at you and it says, yeah, you have much bigger gifts that you need to share. So right around 2015, I started to experience 25 to 30 stroke-like symptoms a day. So every time I stood up from a chair, the right side of my body would paralyze to where I couldn't walk out of a room. And it took me 10 seconds to get everything working again. They called them TIAs, temporary ischemic attacks. And this was all due to a heavy dose of antibiotics that I believe I was receiving. But Jeanene, this introduced me to food as medicine. This is when I started to take a look at my own health and started to take a look at all of these pieces that affect our health on a day-to-day basis. And as I started to lean into that, I started to study gut microbiome, soil health, toxins in our food stream. You know, I know you do celery cleanse, which is beautiful for repairing your stomach, is where we need to, in order to get the actual nutrients out of the food that we're eating, is to repair our stomachs. And so I started to repair my stomach, and within 30 days, I got the strokes to go away.
My goodness.
Where neurologists had no idea what was causing them, what was doing them. But Jeanene, it was the start of MS for me, and I didn't realize it. So I had thrown my immune system out of balance. So when I look at autoimmune conditions, is a level of having your immune system out of balance. So if you look at the yin and the yang, those two intricate circles, one was so heavily swayed on one side. And at this time too, emotionally, high degree of stress. I was, in corporate world, being the director of sales for a tech company. I was doing things that were just driving. I had two young kids. I mean, Henry and Alex, both of my kids at this time were, I think Henry was 12, Alex was 10. And so really having young kids, and as you very well know, having kids, there's a level of stress that comes with kids. And so my very high stressful life started to lead me to lose balance. I remember driving a car up the mountain after I cured the strokes, thinking I was over, and going blind while driving on the highway going up the mountain. And pulling off, very luckily, pulling off to the side of the road and looking at my wife at the time and being like, you got to drive. I can't. And her directing me over to the passenger seat, and me just sitting there like, what the hell is going on?
What is happening to me?
And I avoided it. Oh man, did I push away? I didn't want to get diagnosed. I didn't want a label. I didn't want.
No, we put our heads in the sand and hope it will all go away by the time we come up. And what ends up happening is we make it 1,000 times worse.
Exactly, we do. And as we hide from it, I didn't want to tell anybody. There's nothing. There was no good prognosis over this. So then I went in and I get diagnosed with MS in 2017. And at that time, my doctor looks at me and says, if you don't do anything, you have a severe case of primary progressive MS. And if you don't do anything, you're going to be in a wheelchair in 7 months. And she wanted to put me on a drug that was only 27% effective. 38% of the people they gave it to, it made them worse. And for everyone else, nothing. And I looked at her and I said, if I give you a 27% chance you make it home safe, do you leave the office?
Exactly. I don't understand. That was a great analogy. Would you even get in your car? Hell no.
Hell no, I wouldn't. And so then under that premise, I left her office going, there's got to be a better way. I ran Ironman after paralyzing my leg. I healed from strokes. So now it is my opportunity to heal from MS, to reverse MS with inside of myself, no matter what it takes. And that's all I needed. And then I started this journey and I started this path, and that was 5 years ago.
All right, I have a question.
Yes.
What makes you say, I'm not going to take the path that this neurologist is telling me that I should take? What makes somebody listen to that little voice inside of them and say, I know better, I'm going to heal myself? Even though, did you have any evidence that that was even possible at the time?
Besides stories that I read, like you read, like Dr. Terry Walls, medical medium Anthony Williams, I read his book and just started to immerse myself with as much knowledge as I could. And all that knowledge did was give me hope. was saying, okay, let me try this. And I just started to put my body, like I did with healing the strokes, is I started to put my body through experiments. It was experiment after experiment after experiment to where, okay, what would happen if I removed gluten for 2 weeks? I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, it's only 2 weeks. I can do anything for 2 weeks. And so remove gluten. And then it's like, okay, I feel a little bit better. Then remove dairy. And I noticed my GI tract came back in alignment. I was like, oh my God. And so through this period, I gave up corn, soy, dairy, gluten, pork, and eggs. As I studied where toxins were, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to eat that anymore.
Now, some people listening to you right now may say, well, I don't want to give that up. I enjoy my food. I love my food, and that's all I have to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
What keeps you going, eliminating all of these foods, and do you feel deprived?
No, I do not feel deprived. I feel empowered because I'm controlling myself. That's a great question. Is when I started to walk down this journey, I had those same questions. And this is when I stepped into the emotional, spiritual aspect of it. So intuitively, I knew that something was better. I intuitively knew that I could reverse my MS. I cannot explain it, Jeanene. As I sat there, it was like a level of trust that just really kept washing over. And you can say what you want, but I'm like, okay, I'm feeling better. And I kept following my emotion. And as I started to follow this emotion going down, I started to notice that this element of love kept coming up. I would read from like, I taught myself how to meditate, became a meditation practitioner through the journey. And also I was led to individuals like Sarah Blondin. If everybody on that's listening to us, if you have not listened to Sarah Blondin on Insight Timer, highly recommend her. She is the antithesis of love. And I just kept getting led down this road to explore love. And I kept following it. And every time I followed it, I felt a little bit better. I improved. I felt happier. I felt like I had more hope. And started to realize over years of doing this is the essence of love. And started to lean into loving myself. So before we get done, I'm going to give everybody an exercise to do, and it's super simple. Doesn't cost you a dime to do it. Very, very simple, but you have to try, and then you'll have to respond to Jeanene or myself and let me know how it went over the course of a week.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
So remind me at the end.
I will.
So under this is under a premise of love, and you look at vibrational energy. So then I started to study vibrational energy and emotional energy that's all around us. And so, they've proven at MIT that every inanimate object, the plant behind you, the books, everything behind you, the bookcase, is vibrating. Has a level of vibration that comes to it. Then this level of vibration approaches food. So, for example, healthy vegetables that are organically grown vibrate at specific gigahertz, and I believe it's right around 225 gigahertz that vegetables vibrate at, and they can test this. And so these vibrational levels. Now, as a person, we are energy centers. So if you think about within of all of our cells are atoms, and it's been proven, Einstein talked about this, that inside every cell is an atom. If you don't believe me, you just got to look it up. What's inside a cell? It's an atom. And inside that atom, 99.99999% of the inside of that atom is nothing. It's empty space. So something that they've identified is energy. So essentially, we are all just gigantic energy centers that are vibrating. And when we vibrate at anger, hate, frustration, stress, fear, those lower vibrational levels that vibrate right around 150 gigahertz, this puts our body out of ease and it creates dis-ease within our cells. So a body in a state of anger, depression, basically feeds and perpetuates disease. So at this time, when I look back at my life, when I started to go through the strokes, when I paralyzed my leg, every one of these incidences, I had such a high level of stress and anger around all of these pieces. Then I kind of made a choice. And I said, I'm not going to go from here, let me put my hand in there, here to here in one leap. And I said, okay, how did I train for a marathon? I've run over 7 marathons, Jeanene. And every one I trained for was just 10% farther every week.
Oh, interesting.
Little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And so with this change, with everything, to circle back to your question, it's small, small steps. And so now it's this concept that I've developed of 1%, is we're not making massive changes, just 1% better every day. So what would 1% look like for somebody that doesn't meditate? So let's say you're like, I don't believe in meditation. Maybe your 1% change would be in your Google search right now, when you get done with, listening to Jeanene and I and being a part of this, you just type in meditation in a Google search. Don't even read it. Just type in meditation. That's 1%. Then maybe the next day you actually read what came up and read about meditation. Then maybe, a 1% past that is you would just sit in your chair and ground your feet and look at a wall, not thinking about whatever you're thinking about. So all these little steps led me to finishing Ironman, led me to overcoming strokes, led me to now reversing multiple sclerosis in myself, where I still work out 5 days a week. I still live an incredible life thriving with MS. And at points, like you have said, like at points you're like, I debate whether or not I was even diagnosed. I believe that they were wrong.
That's what I love about your program, is that there are these quick wins that you don't even realize that you can achieve every single day until you get addicted to that sense of accomplishment.
Yes.
You're like, well, where else can I win? What else can I do? That was simple enough.
Yeah.
You don't realize that these little tiny things that you're doing for yourself are actually fulfilling something inside of you, right? So going back to your intuition, you had this, let's say, voice, how it's not an audible voice, but it's a voice that you can hear almost. Some people trust it and some people don't. You went head on. I'm trusting my intuition and I'm not going to be sick. I am going to heal. And so was this something new for you? Was this a new practice, trusting your intuition, or did you have practice trusting it in your life before?
At a young age, I remember this voice. I remember something just telling me, and it's kind of like that voice, like, for example, if you're walking to your car at night in a parking lot, something in the back of your mind goes, oh, keep your eye out. Something's not safe. The hairs go up on the back of your neck. Like all of this type of stuff starts to kick in. That's it.
Right.
This is, God, universe, source, whatever you believe in.
Guardian angels, somebody's talking to me. I can hear it.
Bingo. And it's giving me a feeling. And until later on, and I muted that voice, I thought I had to literally run my life. Literally, or if I'm even saying that correctly, is like going from, I'm in kindergarten, I go to first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, middle school, high school, college, have a house, have a family, have kids. Like everything is this linear progression in our lives. And every time I took those steps, I muted the voice even more. And
right, because you're following the path of society. What society tells you that you should do next, you follow it, even though it goes against that inner voice of, but I don't want to. I want to do this.
Right.
We learn through society how to mute that voice down. I love that you're talking about this.
Yeah, that when we mute it more and more, it just kind of becomes silent.
Yeah.
And so the diagnosis that we receive, whether it's MS, rheumatoid arthritis, any autoimmune condition that's out there, is really just a wake-up call. It's getting us to listen to our soul again, to listen to source, to listen to our hearts. And so then it becomes this step of getting back to who we were born to be in our
And
life.
undoing all the damage that we did by not listening to the voice. I would always call it the baseball bat. And I'm sure people have a nicer way of putting it, but I would say God would take out his baseball bat and whack me over the head.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I was convinced that there were no signs beforehand. No, he just took out his bat and he whipped me over the head.
That's right.
But no, there
Angry,
were
vengeful God. Yeah.
vengeful God, exactly. But
Yeah.
no, there were signs. There were little tiny voices here and there going, Jeanene, you shouldn't do that. Okay, you're not going to listen. Okay, fine. You shouldn't do that. And I ignored all of them until finally the bat came out and went, boom, you're down.
Right.
And then I finally started going, oh, maybe there was something to those red flags. Maybe I should have listened to that voice.
You had said something I think very important right there. There's those red flags that show up in our life.
Yeah.
And whether we listen to it or not. And we have free will. I mean, source, God, universe comes to us and they're like, oh, I want to get your attention on this. And they're like, I got this. Yeah, I don't need you right now. And we go off on our own journey. It's like, okay, come back to me when you need more help or when you need something, I'm here. You know, kind of like the parent and the child with unconditional love.
Especially a parent to a teenager. You're like, no, but I can help you. I know best, Mom. I know everything. I am 19 years old. Oh, right. Okay. Well, when you don't know everything, I'll be here for you.
That's right. Yeah. When you've fallen down enough, I can help you through that. You know, I'm here for you with just unconditional love. So when we look at this, if we have unconditional love for our children, then no matter what they do, we're still going to love them. If God's source universe is 10,000 times greater than that, then not only is it going to give us the freedom to do what we want to do, but always love us no matter what. So in the Bible, it says the prodigal son returns. So as we step into our own love, then we are honored with our own love. And so really the whole concept and the whole basis is stepping into our love. Because if I love myself, Jeanene, I don't care what food you put in front of me. I'm from Chicago, Jeanene. Like you could put a Chicago Uno's pizza deep dish.
You're going to say the pizza,
which is making my mouth water right now. And I would tell you no. Like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for giving that. But no, I'm not going to, because it's not going to make me feel good. So then this element of self-love starts to speak louder than any good taste in my mouth, any feeling that I have. And as I step closer and closer to love, more love comes to me. More love comes into my life. More opportunity to help and serve and to give and to be. And then I am honored with feeling good. Like I had a great workout today. My walking was, I walked a mile farther than I would have in the past. So when this all started, I could only walk 800 steps, Jeanene. I used to count them. I'm up to well over 10,000. I just stopped counting at some point.
Right. Now it's just something that you can do easily. No, this is, it's absolutely amazing. The more good that you do for yourself, the more good you can do for other people because you feel so good. That makes you feel good. That makes them feel good. And then they start doing things for other people. That is part of my program. I heal you, you heal others, right? You follow the leader until you become the leader. And then you teach other people how to do the same thing so that this spreads.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We are the new virus. We are spreading faster than any COVID. I love that.
I love it.
Right?
That's right. I have a client out of Texas, incredible woman. And due to HIPAA, I will not share her name, but incredible, incredible woman that I've had the honor of coaching over 12 weeks. And at the end of it, she goes, you changed my life. And she's like, what now? And I'm like, you tell me, what do you want to do with this? Now that you have this, you know how many people you could help?
Right.
You know how many people that are being aware that just will come into your life and have a conversation with you because if your energy, you are emitting, and they've actually seen this, is that we emit out at about 20 yards past us, this vibrational feeling. Case in point, we usually feel it when it's bad. So if you come home at night, your husband is just so upset over something. You know it. You
can
don't even
feel
have
it.
to ask him. You can
Exactly.
feel it. You're
Yep.
like, oh, your anger. But at the
Sometimes I
same
feel it when he's still on the lawn and he hasn't even walked in the house yet. I'm like, oh, something's coming.
something's
That's how you don't even have to see his face.
right.
Yeah.
You're tapped in. You're tapped into this energy field that's out there that's around all of us.
Right.
But you can emit the same energy field of love. So if I'm emitting love, then I attract love to me. It's a little bit interesting when you go to a grocery store and you are truly embodying love. And it's nothing conscious that you do. You don't sit there and say, okay, I'm loved today. I'm going to be loved today. Now, it may be a mantra that you say, but really, genuinely, you feel love coming from your heart. At times, I will put my hand on my heart when I'm just standing in the grocery store because it is just one of those things that's just that circular feeling. And I've had, there was a woman, she was in her 80s standing in line and she turned to me and she goes, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Well, my name is Matt. I'm a healer.
What
I
are you
do
looking
this."
for?
I'm
Yeah.
like, "What do you need? Do you need help?" And she goes, "No." She goes, "I just feel how
Feel your energy.
powerful you are and how warm you are and how love you are." And she just said, "Thank you." Because as individuals, as in on this planet, we are born wanting love. We are born with a true source of love from God, source universe. We are made in love. So this is what we strive for. I mean, they've proven and they've seen this with orphanages in Russia where kids are not held or touched. Sadly, they pass away or they have emotional problems that follow them out throughout their entire lives. So we are just seekers of love all the time. We cry as babies to get held. We do something to get love. We want love. But if I require love from someone else, so like in our call today, let's say like really we got on the call and I'm like, oh, I just want to be loved by Jeanene. I just want her appreciation. I want her respect.
You got it, Matt. You just tell me what you
Oh,
need. You got it.
you get it. But it never comes because we're filling an empty well of love that can never be filled by somebody else. As one of my mentors taught me, that well of love, the empty abyss of love of that well that we seek from other people can never be filled. If it was like filled with a fire hose going into that well by all these people, they could never fill it. But a thimble of my own love fills that well completely.
Like that. Like that.
Immediately, completely. So really stepping into this essence of I love myself. Like, and not from an arrogant standpoint, not with like, I'm so awesome. Like, no, it's just really of just this level of knowing and being and
Just
living
knowing.
in love.
Now I know that everybody listening to this phone call, this interview is going, that's what I want. That is what I need. How do I get that? And you have put this into a step-by-step process for people to follow, right? So do
Yeah,
you want to tell us a little bit about your program?
sure. Yeah, it really is the essence of 1%. So really for making the first steps, I looked back at my own life and said, okay, how did I get to where I am? And it is really first discovering and understanding who you are based on your core values as a person. We are all different. So I want to know in there, who is Jeanene? Who are you? Who are you deeply? And then once you start to identify, these are my values and this is who I am as a person, then you can step into what you want. Like, okay, this is what I want to set for myself. I want to be able to walk a mile. I want to be able to walk my daughter down the aisle for her wedding and she's going to get married in a year. I want whatever it is. And it's so important for you to understand it. But then you start to identify what are the blocks that come into this element of love. Boundaries, setting healthy boundaries that are around you. So, for example, like, I was married for 21 years, is setting a healthy boundary of, I will not accept that. And I need to have a conversation. We start that conversation with love, which is, I love you. I need to talk to you about something. When you do this, this makes me feel this way. and setting this healthy boundary that goes all around you, then starting to talk about food as medicine and leading people over to your direction of saying, okay, now that you know this step and you've got your cellularly, you've started to change. Now let's start reinforcing that with good, healthy foods and get you to feel better. Talking to Jeanene Troutman about what to do and what to eat as it walks down this road, where I may introduce it, but I'm not going to give you the deep accountability that's over there. Then the big piece is self-love.
Self-love.
It's really having you lean into really loving yourself fully. And it seems like simple work, but as you walk down this road, it's just the work. It's the work we do.
So much. I don't want to interrupt. So remember where you are, but I wanted to say the boundaries part is so important, because I see so many times with myself, with people around me, we always want to put ourselves, and especially women, I don't know how many male clients experience the same thing. Maybe they do. But we always want to make sure that everyone is taken care of first before we take care of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And part of the setting the boundaries is learning how to, I'm assuming, tell me if I'm right, to say no to other people so that we can put ourselves first, right? So that we can help more people. And do you teach how to set those healthy boundaries so that we don't feel like we're being selfish? We feel like we're building ourselves up so that we can give more.
Yes, I do. And it's a step process.
It is a step process, isn't it? It's learned.
1% different every day. I'm not asking in all of my programs, I'm not asking for a drastic change. So for example, if you eat gluten every day, I'm not asking you just stop eating gluten tomorrow.
Right.
It's on the, so if you come home and the one, your teenager is screaming at you every time he comes home and tells you how much he hates you and how he hates being here, it's very difficult to just say, okay, so today I'm just going to tell him X. Right. It's 1%.
I'm going to shower him with love today. No. I'm going to not kill him today. That's my 1%. If he lives to see tomorrow, I succeeded in my 1%. Yeah, no, that's so smart. Baby steps.
I have an 18-year-old that I just sent to college. And there was a moment I'm like, okay, so he's 17. If I punch him, it's a felony. I go to jail. But when he turns 18, it's a misdemeanor.
These are the thoughts. These are the thoughts.
And
we can't blame ourselves for them because they drive us to the edge. So that 1%.
It's just 1% difference every day.
Yeah.
And what we do is we identify what's one small step you can take tomorrow, then the next hour, one small step. And that one small step leads to another and another and another. And pretty soon, almost it surprises you at some point. You're like, oh my gosh.
I'm having a conversation with my 19-year-old and I don't want to kill him. Oh my God. Right. But it started with, okay, don't kill him. Okay. Now that he's alive for an extended period of time, let's try having a conversation with him.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So that's little. And then all of a sudden you're sitting on the couch face to face talking to this person who's your son,
right?
Like an adult, like it's a normal thing.
Yep.
But it took all those baby steps, the collective adding of all those baby steps to get there. Right. That's why I love your program, because you take the overwhelm out of these huge transitions that people want, and they want right away, right? Because we've been conditioned to, well, take a pill, you'll feel fine right away. No, we got to do the work, and it's hard work. But if you break it down every day, you're going to do a Google search. I love that. One Google search. That's it. I don't even care if you read it. Don't read it. Read it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Love that. All right. Boundaries. I love that. Now the self-love. Talk to me more about that, because I know that takes a lot, right?
It's difficult because when we look at ourselves, is where do we feel when we talk about adversity, or we talk about something, let's say a failure. I screwed up. I made a mistake. Trust me, I've made more than I'd like to count.
Me too.
That where do you feel it inside your body? Because your body keeps score. You will feel it in your body before you will actually feel it mentally inside your mind. Before the stress hormone gets released, your body will start to. So you'll feel it either in your solar plexus, right at the pit of your, or right at the top of your stomach, right there. And that's where your self-worth comes from. So if we feel it there, or we may feel it in our throat, we want to say something to somebody, but we cannot say it, and our throats close up, or we start coughing. So when I'm coaching, if we get into a difficult concept where we're really starting to uncover some stuff for you, all of a sudden my client will start to cough. And I'm like, where do you feel that? And I'm like, okay, that's good. We've hit a trigger there. Let's explore that. Let's get to a root. I don't want to just talk about surface level. I want to get to the root cause. I want to get to where this is coming up inside of your life, and really starting to approach that. And what it often comes down to is our own self-worth. We don't think we're good enough.
I just had this conversation with my vibrational healer. I love that you said that. They start to cough, right? They're literally choking on the energy that wants to come out, right?
Yes.
But if we're not made aware of that, we just think, I had a little tickle, I needed some water, or, oh, right. I had a sore throat, I must have gotten something. Last week was my workshop week. You remember, I was all over the place. I was having technical difficulties. I was coughing. I couldn't say that I was sick, though, because my energy level was fine. But what was coming out of my face, like the gallon of snot every day. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm not sick. I don't know what this is. Well, I found out I was purging. My husband and I, being pregnant, I'm just a demon lately, right? So the last couple of months. And I know it. It's okay. I'm a demon. I won't be forever.
It's for good cause. You're going to have a beautiful baby.
I'm trying to embrace it. So a lot of stuff is coming up for me and him because this is our second marriage. We're both in our 40s having a newborn. So some days we're like, yay. Other days we're like, what the hell did we get ourselves into? And I'd like to say that we're going through this together gracefully. No, we all have our own baggage, me and him, it's coming up separately. And because we're the only two around each other, we're like this half the time. So anyway, I'm coming into this awareness of releasing all of this baggage that is coming up for healing because I'm in a safe place and I don't have a use for it anymore. So it's coming up. And how did it come up and out? The way it manifested last week in that whole detoxing of my body.
Right.
So we might think it's just a physical symptom, a virus, a bacteria, or whatever, but you dig down deeper and find out the root cause. Of what is coming up for you, and you can link the physical to the emotional and the spiritual, and that's when it all comes together and you become aware of what you're doing, and that's where the self-love comes in, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I love how you said becoming aware.
Yeah,
there's an element of the program that is this element of waking up and becoming aware.
Yeah, because once someone tells you you're not actually sick, you're detoxing, you're releasing a level of energy that you no longer need. You're like, oh, okay, well, then I can handle this. This is nothing. I'm good. And it passes, it moves on. But we're stuck so much in this conflict of what's happening to me. Am I doing something wrong? Right? And then you've got this program where Matt comes in and says, you're doing everything right. This is exactly where you're supposed to be. Let me tell you what's going on. Let's work through this so it passes even faster.
And I love how you said you're blocking it. You're keeping this from flowing through you. They're like, okay, I got this. I'm just going to take these drugs. I will get better. I'm going to get better, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say all of these positive emotions all the way through it. And yeah, that's important. But unless we accept the fact that this is just moving through us and getting us aware of where the actual energy is stuck inside our bodies. And so often it's stuck with this element of self-love. Like either it's love or we've got not having a boundary conversation that we should be having with somebody. And really honoring ourselves for how incredible we are as human beings. We can overcome disease there, and when you look at this element of love is joy and laughter is everything in your life. Once we approach it with joy and laughter, this will heal cancer. I mean, they've proven laughter heals disease. So, and it's really not just the essence of laughing, but feeling the laughter. And it's our feeling within our body and our feelings that we have so deep within ourselves. And once we uncover these feelings, it's not to bring up the ugly.
Right.
It's like
it
you said.
feels like it is. It feels like, oh, why are we talking about this? I don't want to feel this anymore. And we pack it back down. Right. But then talk about what it feels like once you do get it up and out.
Yes. Because you got to know that most of your emotional feelings towards things are built when you're between the ages of 7 and 10 years old.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So you are allowing your inner 7-year-old to run your life subconsciously. So, like, for example, if something comes up, and let's say at 7 years old, you were never meant to feel smart. So you would step into life at that point, like 7 years old. Let's say you got a bad grade on a test, and you, like some teacher, and this is actually what happened to me. I had some teacher tell me I was not smart enough to do it. I know. This is what you get for going to Catholic.
You wonder how these teachers are, how they
do it. And so that stuck with me. So then through college, through university, I would not even try on tests.
No, the program was running. The program was already running. She said it.
Right. And it's all subconscious program running until I identified, oh my gosh, that was the program. Then I had the chance to change it.
Wow.
To step into it. And this is the work.
You brought everything up to the awareness level where we can release it.
Right. Oh, God, we consciously, and then as we step into love, and love heals all.
I love that. This is exactly what I wanted you to talk about, because I know everybody in this group, we're trying so hard, right? We're doing the work, we're doing it. And sometimes that's all we need is it brought up to our awareness. We need programs like yours to help us through it, because as willing as we are, if we're not given the tools to do it, you don't know what you don't know. So we have a I can't see the comments of who's saying what in the comment thread. I only see Facebook users because we are using StreamYard, and unless you give StreamYard permission to access your profile, I'm not going to see your name. But anyway, I wanted to address the one who said, I missed the beginning. How did Matt overcome MS? That is a great story. So this is going to be recorded. And I just want everyone to know that when this gets posted in the Minding Your Soul, you can go back and rewind and watch the beginning of that, because that really is a good story. And I don't want to tell it in a nutshell. It deserves the time it was given in the beginning of this. So, all right. I can't believe it's been like 45 minutes since we've been talking. This is the first time I looked at the clock. I'm like, what? No way.
Of course, all my conversations with you, Jeanene,
I should set like alarms to go off. Right now, talk about this. Otherwise I get lost. But you did say, to remind you wanted to do an exercise before we went with everybody.
Yes, absolutely. So for everybody that stayed to the end, I would like you to do one thing for me. So when you get off the call, you are going to have to use the restroom at some point. We're human beings. It just happens.
I have to use it right now. I've been holding it in, just so you know.
You're pregnant, Jeanene, like your baby.
So we always have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. So one thing I would like for everyone to do is, when we get off the call and the next time that you are in the bathroom, I want you to look in the mirror after you've washed your hands, and look deep within your own eyes. So I want you to look in your own eyes deeply. That's where your soul is in your eyes. And you're looking into your soul, and say the words, I love you. Then I want you to do it again. And I want you to do this 5 times while you're in the bathroom. No one is there. No one is listening to you. And you are really alone in this element. And I want you to tell yourself, I love you. Deeply. Now, when you get done, text Jeanene and I. Let us know how it went.
I'm very anxious. I'm going to definitely put this out there and tell you guys how I feel about it, because at first it feels really weird. I'm not going to lie. It feels really weird. It feels like you're playing a part. You're like, okay, I love you. I love you. I love you. And it's hard to make eye contact with yourself, right? I didn't expect that. So at first, I love you. I love you. And you're like, all right, just get this over with. 5 times seems like a ridiculous amount of times to do this. And then you do it. And the more you do it, so 5 times today, right? And I bet you're going to recommend 5 times tomorrow and 5 times the next day. And what happens is it starts to feel real. And you start to go, oh, I do love you. I do love you. And it starts to feel good. And you're bringing that love that you do have inside of you. You're bringing it up to the surface and you're feeling it. This is just one of the tactics that Matt has that seems so simple, right? Oh, that's ridiculous. But when you do it, it's amazing how it changes not only your mindset, but it brings everything up to your awareness. You're like, I didn't even realize that I would have trouble saying I love you. I didn't even realize that I would have trouble. If someone asked me, I'd be like, no, I can say that to myself. And apparently I couldn't. So this is just one of those things where that little tiny moving the needle 1% makes all of the difference. So let's see, we have, yes, I will put that with the rest of my affirmations. Wonderful. Thank you. Let us know. Put it in the group. Matt is a part of this group, so you can tag him in this group. So put it in the group for everyone to see, because I want everyone to know that this is going to be recorded. And so whether you're watching the replay or you're watching it live, put it in the comments so everyone else can see it. And Matt, how does everyone sign up for your program? Where can they go? Tell us about your lovely website.
Yes, they can go to the identityofhealth.com, or they can go to mattrowecoaching.com. Both of them is going to have an explanation of the program and those pieces within it. And the program it's called Thrive. And so with this program, Thrive, it's an 8-week journey. And at the end of that 8 weeks, you will have the tools and everything ready to begin taking what Jeanene does and adding, it's turbocharged to what Jeanene does. It is adding that turbocharge to your life and everything that you are and how incredible you are, and begin healing from MS. Healing from MS is a journey. There is not a magic pill.
And there's no shortcuts. You have to do the work. You have to do the work. And this is the work. You have to do the nutrition part of it. You have to do the mindset part of it. And unfortunately, we don't learn these tools in school. No one teaches us these things, but thank God we have this. We have the coaches. They're in your computer. They're on your phone through the power of Zoom and now StreamYard, my new favorite program.
Which I love.
Right now it comes directly to you. So now we have all these resources without any excuses not to utilize them. So that's what I want to do with Minding Your Soul. I want to bring you guys all these different pieces of the puzzle, because your pieces are going to look different from somebody else's pieces. And we all need to figure out what we need to put our puzzle together. So Matt, thank you so much. Once again, this was a great conversation that went by way too fast.
It always goes by quick with you, Jeanene.
I know it does. So we'll do it again. We'll definitely do it again. Everyone, thank you for joining us. And again, like I said, if you're watching the replay or you're watching it live, post in the comments and register with StreamYard so we can see who you are. Because right now, Quinn, you're the only one that I can see your name of. So thank you.
Thank you,
Everyone
Quinn.
else just looks like a Facebook user. But thank you anyway for joining us. Thank you so much. And Matt,
thank you guys.
We'll talk soon.
I can't wait. Thank you, Jeanene.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.